All right, the Utah Jazz get absolutely demolished by the Golden State Warriors. Demolished, crushed. It was really bad, but it's kind of what the Jazz want, and it's kind of it's obviously what the Warriors want. It's the Hoops Nerd postgame show, guys. Let's talk about it. All right, so first off, we have people commenting on where you want my face. Do you want to hear? Some people didn't want to hear because it blocked off some of them. I didn't get as many complaints last year with my face here. I didn't get as many. I got more complaints here. Do you want to hear or hear? What do you want? Right there? Is that good? Is that good? All right, let's try it there. If you got complaints, I don't know, guys. I don't know, but we're not going back to green screen, okay? Because we're here to save time. All right, let's talk about the Warriors and the Jazz. This Warriors team was going to be a little bit of a question mark this season. They did not get Lauri Markkanen even after all the trade rumors, after everything was said and done. They don't end up getting Lauri Markkanen. But you know what? They looked pretty good tonight. And for the season, what are the Warriors at? The Warriors find themselves at 2-0. So the nice start for the Warriors to get going. Now, they beat the Jazz, who are not very good. We have found out, but it's okay. You win big time in the games you should win. Another win for the Warriors tonight is that they did not have to play many of their starters that many minutes. I mean, Steph plays 27, but that's pretty decent if you don't have to play him too much. Draymond Green played under 20 minutes. Kuminga only played 17. He was not great for them, and they sat him as the game went on. And then, post Kuminga going out, things got a lot better for the Warriors. Wiggins is still a really good athlete in defense. He obviously didn't hit a ton of shots, but look at that, 13 rebounds. He is such an impressive rebounder on the wing and can kind of play that 4 spot when they need him to. Pretty awesome. Basically, I mean, the guy that just absolutely obliterated the Jazz was Buddy Hield, who goes 7 for 9 from 3. He was out of his mind tonight. Utah could not stop him. 10 for 14 from the field, 7 for 9 from 3. 27 points, 6 assists. I mean, Buddy Hield was the truth tonight for the Warriors. Holy smokes, was he good. That's about it. There's not a lot else you can learn from this Warriors team, but they got some weapons. I don't know how good they're going to be. I don't think they're winning the title, but they are definitely going to be a good team throughout the season, and maybe they're going to be good enough to get some nice positioning in the playoffs. Who knows? Maybe they're better than I think. Who knows? They got nice depth at each position. They've got solid rotation players, so nice for the Warriors. I was kind of surprised that Podziemski came off the bench, by the way. He plays 24 minutes. He's coming off the bench, and that means that who's starting over him? I guess Kuminga and Andrew Wiggins. I mean, I guess that makes sense. Just kind of interesting. Because the Warriors would not trade Podziemski for Lauri Markkanen. So kind of interesting that they'd rather have Podziemski off the bench than Markkanen, I guess. And those picks, but I don't know. All it would have taken was 3 to 4 first-round picks and Podziemski, and they probably would have had Markkanen. And I think this Warriors team at that point gets pretty crazy. But anyways, all right, let's talk about the Utah Jazz. Lauri Markkanen, it was not a good game for the Jazz, guys. Not good. Utah got smoked. I was coming into this game a little bit worried the Jazz might win because before the game there were reports that Steph and Draymond were not going to play. Obviously they did, and things changed. This Jazz team defensively is not very good, and let's just go to NBA.com. We are going to check that out, and we're going to go to the stats section for teams. But this was a very bad kind of loss overall for the Jazz. Last game was a good one. Opening night for the Jazz. The Jazz looked really good and nearly won. And if Key had a better shooting night, they might have won that Grizzlies game. Tonight, no one shot the well for the Jazz. I guess Kessler was 1 for 1. But no one shot it well tonight, and Utah just got absolutely destroyed. Let's go through it, though. So Markkanen, you could tell there was a focus tonight. He only takes 5 3-pointers. I think the Jazz are actually trying to do specific things to grow. I don't think the Jazz really expect to win a lot of games, which if you're in the the group that would like to add Cooper Flagg to this roster, like myself, then this was good. And it kind of was a reminder that there are situations where Lauri Markkanen can develop as well. And so it was very clear tonight, Lauri Markkanen was getting the ball in a lot of isolation situations around the free throw line to see what he could do in isolation. It did not go well. He goes 4 for 17 from the field. A lot of this was isolation. He only takes 5 threes. Let's see, 8 rebounds, 2 assists. He made a few passes that were really nice, but only 7 free throw attempts. So they allowed the Warriors to play pretty physical with him. Draymond was really up in his jersey. But 13 points. I was kind of impressed with Markkanen's toughness, though, but it just seems like he has not been able to kind of hit that isolation jumper, at least tonight. But it's something to watch as the season goes on. Can Markkanen start knocking those down and develop as well? Because the youth are obviously learning and growing. Can Lauri Markkanen as well? Taylor Hendricks had a great night in Game 1. Tonight, couldn't hit his shot, but I felt like defensively he had some moments. But 2 block shots. The Jazz in the first half were actually pretty decent, especially the first quarter. I mean, they looked pretty solid in the first quarter. They were up at one point, if you can imagine. And then once they subbed out into their bench and the Warriors kind of adjusted their lineups to players that were playing better, basically Kuminga did not play very much after the first half, and the Warriors destroyed Utah. But anyways, I thought Taylor Hendricks had some moments. He needs to become a knockdown three-point shooter, so this is something to watch for the season. Where is he right now? I know it's only 2 games, so you can't really take a lot from this. But I would like to see this be, 3 points? Let's see. Oh, this is not updated yet, so that doesn't count. So we're not going to look at that until next game. But anyway, 7 rebounds, nice to see. He was actually at one point when Utah was doing well in the first half, was the number 1 plus-minus guy along with Key and Colin. But then the second half happened, and Keontae George ended up having the worst second half by a long shot and goes minus 37. So really rough. But anyways, I felt like in the first half, Taylor Hendricks had a lot of moments that were nice to see. I want to see a little more. He looked a little... There were times where Draymond was guarding him. You could tell he was not very confident in his dribble to the hoop. There was one play where he kind of pulled up at the free throw line, which I don't mind if he's knocking that down but didn't make it. I'd like to see him just grow in confidence this year. Like, drive at Draymond. I know Draymond has some of the best defensive hands ever, but, that's how you learn. Drive. Walker Kessler had a monster game in Game 1. I wrote about it, that is this a breakout year for Walker Kessler? And he took 1 field goal attempt, 0 free throws. He had 9 rebounds, which I guess is pretty decent, but 2 points. Just not an impactful game like the first one. So I don't know if there's a lot to take from this one because Utah just did not look very good and got just completely destroyed. But I want to see a little more from Walker Kessler, although at the same time, I don't know what to take from this game. Not a lot to really gather, especially for a player like Kessler, who right now the archetype is a rolling big who blocks shots and rebounds. And if Utah's not playing particularly well, tough to kind of judge all that. Colin Sexton had some very kind of bad habit Colin Sexton stuff going on where he's driving to the basket without any intention of giving the ball to someone else. He goes 4 for 13 from the field. And this is where Colin Sexton really can struggle, is when he has got those blinders on and he's just going to the basket to score. I mean, we were during the live stream talking about it, but he was just kind of barreling into the trees at the paint and not looking for open shooters and forcing stuff, and it did not go well. A couple times against Wiggins, who did a really good job guarding him, and it just didn't go well. Sexton's got to play within the offense where he's just moving the ball and he'll score more efficiently. He'll get his points. He has to not fall into those bad habits, and he definitely did that tonight. A lot of players fell into bad habits tonight. Key fell into bad habits tonight. Sexton fell into bad habits. There's a few things I did like about Sexton. This game was basically a tale of 2 halves. The first half was definitely, the happy stuff, the trunk or treat, the trick or treat, the candy, the fun part of Halloween. The second half, Jason showed up from Friday the 13th and everybody died. It was horrible and bad and people getting stabbed in different crazy places. It was bad and ugly. And that's what happened. Colin Sexton, definitely some ugly stuff in the second half. This 4 for 13 is not very typical for him. He's typically super efficient. When he's not making, it's just really interesting. It's like when the players have the faith in their teammates to move the ball, their percentages go up. They actually score more because the ball moves around. Sharing is caring, guys. But tonight, that was not the case. And you can just see that as a whole, the team was not moving it. When John Collins is leading your team in assists with 4, that's probably not a good thing. For the entire team, 18 assists for the game, not good enough. Not good enough at all. So that was a struggle. Keontae George in the first half, that first 5 to 8 minutes of the starters was actually awesome, and Key looked incredible. He knocked down his first 2 threes. The offense was flowing. He was moving the ball. You could tell they were forcing it to Markkanen in the post, though, to try to develop that, which is interesting. But, man, first half for Key was great. Second half was the opposite. Very, very rough. Very not good. I do appreciate that he only took 12 shots tonight, so maybe that's something he's learning from last game. But he just had a lot of like dejected, just didn't look really happy because the Jazz were getting smoked. And he's got to this is where he's got to improve too, is just mentality. You got to get over it. And I've been a big Key apologist, but he's got to learn to just keep his head in the game. Like he hangs on that rim on that missed dunk at the end, and I guess, that stinks. It sucks to miss a shot like that and look bad on Shaqtin' a Fool. But then he hung on the rim and Kyle Filipowski misses a shot. You can't do it. You can't do it, man. You're going to get benched. Don't do it. You don't want to lose your starting role to Isaiah Collier when he gets back, right? And I don't think that's going to happen, but he's got to learn from that stuff. Can't do it. He did shoot the ball decent from 3, though. 3 for 8 from 3. It was a better shooting performance from him. In fact, arguably the best shooting night of anyone on the team. But still, those are not great numbers. I wish that dunk went in, but that's a bummer. 5 turnovers, not great. He's got to fix that. And then the 3 assists. It felt like the offense was moving much better in the first half. Utah did not look good in the second half. And some of that could have been Warriors adjustments, picking at some of the things that the Jazz struggle at, and that's with their youth. Jordan Clarkson had a terrible night. It was just truly bad. But you still can't just play like that. All right, Cody Williams had a tough night as well. He had some moments, especially late in the game. But you can tell he is going through some rookie pains right now. First 2 games, the shot is not falling. I have a prediction that maybe later in the season, especially when teams are like taking their foot off the gas, when teams are kind of deciding, like they know if they're going to be playoff teams or not. Cody Williams is going to have some moments this season, but right now the shot is not there yet. But I have liked what I've seen from him defensively, and he is going to figure things out. He just looks like a very smart player. I like that he's taking the shot when he gets it, but you do want to see him be a little aggressive. This one bucket he made was really nice. A nice drive. He used his length to score. This 3-point shot is where you really want to see him develop because he is a really smart player. And once this 3-point shot, if it happens, if it consistently goes down, it opens up so many things for every player. If your 3-point shot is a weapon, it opens up everything, So that's what you're going to be waiting for from him is, can that 3-point shot get better? Let's see. So I guess there's not much else, but he did have 2 assists, 3 rebounds, and a steal. I don't know. He's putting up some numbers. He's trying to feel his way in. I would not be surprised if over time we start to see Cody Williams start doing something. I don't know. I just want to see this shot fall because we have not seen the 3-point shot fall, and he's struggling a little bit. Bryce Sensabaugh had a nice few moments. I mean, everyone had a few moments. It was not a good game, guys. No one played well. It was not good. Bryce Sensabaugh had a few moments. He knocked down some threes. I don't know if he helps you win games, but that does not matter this year. It's absolutely a chance for Utah to develop him. And I was talking about it with Clint on the live stream. Utah is going to get 3 more young players in the draft this year. Absolutely. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with contracts. I want to go to Spot Track, Utah Jazz. And I just want to look at their cap a little bit because we are going to see 3 young players come onto this team next year. Hopefully one of them is Cooper Flagg. But let's look at let's see, can we look at the cap? Sorry, the Jazz got destroyed, so we're going to do stuff like this. But Utah, I want to see their cap, actually. Spot Track is really great, by the way, guys. It's just, I mean, sometimes... Well, let's see here. So this is 24-25. Let's see who is on the team in 25-26. Obviously, Markkanen will be on there. Yeah, this team shrinks a little bit. So you've got Lauri Markkanen, John Collins. The green, I believe, is a player option. You can bet that he is going to pick that up. Yeah, look, player option. Chances are John Collins is picking up that player option for $26 million. Are you serious? That's crazy. Let's see. Who else is on this team? Looks like a lot of options here. So Utah's going to bring in three, or they're going to be very young next year. But if you can develop any of these young players, Taylor Hendricks, Keontae George, Isaiah Collier, Cody Williams, Walker Kessler might be on this team next year. We shall see. But man, you watch tonight and how they play. I would not be surprised if the Utah Jazz are active at trade deadline. It's 2 games, but man, were they 2 games where, I mean, the first game the Jazz looked pretty good and there was a lot to be happy about. But nights like tonight, holy smokes, can they change a team's mentality? So we'll see how the Jazz come out in their next one, but whew, they got smoked. Jordan Clarkson had a bad night. He had 11 points. At one point, I mean, in the first half, he just honestly was super, super terrible. Utah subbed out Markkanen and Kessler, their first subs. Cody Williams comes in, and John Collins comes in, and then Jordan Clarkson eventually comes in pretty soon after. Jordan Clarkson comes in. It was so bad. The Warriors went immediately on a 14-2 run. So maybe that tells you a little bit about the impact Kessler has. Like maybe it was a better impact than we thought if you just look at plus minuses. Kessler just minus 17, so that's nice to see. Along with Lauri Markkanen. So you got to give them credit. In a loss by like 30 points or whatever this was, it was bad. It was almost 40. To be minus 17 is pretty good. But anyways, Clarkson was not very good. 4 for 10 from the field. He missed all his threes. He just kind of dominates the ball. And when you're wanting to develop young players, that can be frustrating. Although I guess at a certain point, what do you want? I mean, Isaiah Collier is out. Utah does not seem interested in playing Jason Preston, so it kind of is what it is. Patty Mills is getting a lot of minutes, which is interesting. But yeah, Jordan Clarkson, John Collins did not have a very good night. He did hit all his free throws, but 14 points, 7 rebounds, looks like a decent stat line, but he was not that great. It was pretty bad. And the reason their plus minus is higher is because they were in the second half when the Warriors had stopped playing their best guys. So I don't know. John Collins is fine, but he is definitely going to be on the Jazz next year, making $26 million. You can count on that. Patty Mills has been a nice little pickup just to have a veteran on the floor that plays well. It hasn't really, I mean, I guess he had the best outside of Drew Eubanks. Shout out Drew Eubanks, +3 in a 40-point loss. But Patty Mills, it didn't affect too much. Although that is interesting, -4. He played pretty solid. And then Drew Eubanks hit a corner 3. It was pretty awesome. You could tell he was not super interested in taking it, but the Warriors didn't come out to guard him, so he stepped back and he knocked it down. Fun to watch. And then Kyle Filipowski got 3 minutes, but because offensive goaltending from Key, it doesn't give him an official field goal attempt. So straight zeros across the board for Filipowski. Guys, that's kind of a lot. There's not much else to say tonight, but I will say this. If you are of the mind of Utah getting a draft pick at the top 5, look at that, baby. Look at that. If that is not a beautiful sight, I don't know what is. That is nice to see. Utah having that number 3 spot makes things really sting a little less. And I bet you Danny Ainge right now is looking at this team and looking at that right there and just doing one of these. This is the plan. This was the plan. And things are going according to plan, I guess. All right, guys, that's basically it tonight. I mean, we didn't have a lot of different things to talk about. And Utah's going to win some games, but I talked about this before the season started in my season preview. This starting schedule for Utah is brutal. Let's look at this. Utah Jazz schedule 24-2020. So look, it's going to be tough. Utah is going to get a good draft pick this year, guys. Sorry. They play the Grizzlies, the Warriors. Next, they play Luka Doncic and the Mavericks. They play the Kings next. They beat them in preseason, so we'll see what happens. But then the Spurs, who looked really pretty solid with Wembanyama. This might be a tank off, but Wembanyama's that good. I just don't know. And then Nuggets. I mean, the Bulls, this might be their first win of the season. And that's how many games in? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We talked about it. And then Bucks, Spurs, Suns, Mavericks. I mean, it is a gauntlet. And so this is kind of what Utah has set themselves up for. It's what I've been asking for. So guess what? I made my bed. I got to sleep in it. But this is the bed I wanted. And the sheets are nice. And the temperature is perfect. And I sleep really well. Really nice. All right. So first, we're going to see what would happen to the Utah Jazz if the lottery was today. And actually, this is something to talk about a little bit because this matters. Losing the games matters. It really does. Let's just see. Boom. If it was today, what happens? Oh, man. 3 people jump. But guess what? That means Utah stays at 6. Imagine being Washington or Brooklyn and dropping that much. But actually, yeah, look. San Antonio jumps to 4. That would hurt my soul. Philadelphia is not going to be there. They get to the number 3. That sucks for Utah. Number 6 gets you a choice of Hugo Gonzalez, Trey Johnson, Drake Powell, Cam Malawach, Igor Demon. This is going to be interesting to watch how this adjusts. Con Knupa looks really good for Duke as well, but I doubt he's in the top 10. Maybe. There's some really interesting prospects, but you would hope that Utah could at least get top 5. And this is a good example. So if you are, they dropped, but if you're Brooklyn, you get dropped like that, you still get the number 4 pick. And what does that get you in this draft? Traore or Edgecombe. Edgecombe looks like he is the second coming of what's his name on the Celtics? Jaylen Brown. He's going to be incredible. And so you want to be as high as you can. So if you do get jumped, you still get those good players. I don't know a lot about Hugo Gonzalez, but a lot of people are pretty interested, although the numbers there are a little interesting. But he's a big wing, and some people really like him. So we'll see. But, man, it would be really nice if Utah could just win the lottery. So, anyways, the Jazz get to the 3 spot, but then fall to 6. They were higher last time in the other. Man, would like to see that be better. All right, outside of that, let's see. Oh, crud. Absolute rookie mistake on my part here. We need to give a shout out to All-Stars. Thank you to everyone who supports the channel, by the way. Every single one of you who is here, especially the members, and especially the All-Stars. I truly appreciate it. This is going to be, in some ways, a long season, but it's going to be so much more fun with you guys here watching with me and enjoying the show and enjoying the tank, guys. We're going to do videos about all these prospects, but Cooper Flagg has potential to be in the Jazz jersey. This is the first time in a while I felt like Utah has an actual shot at getting an absolute superstar, and it's going to be fun. Can you believe it? Makes me happy. All right, let's give a shout out to the All-Stars. These are the ones that make it happen. If you join this channel, you become an All-Star, you become a part of the show, get your own nickname. Let's give a shout out to Baby Elliott Matson, Dirty Jazz Car Wash Channel. See ya, Alexa Later, the Outlaw. See ya, Alexa Later, the Legend. Brian Perry, Christian House Money to Haas. There he is, the Outlaw, Jesse James Nelson. Jordan the Goat Besserell. Austin R. Grant, Editor Extraordinaire. KG10 to TH5. And Patrick Akubo, the Connoisseur. Guys, like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I appreciate it. We got another game coming soon, and I got more videos I got to produce. I will talk to you next time.